Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah. In this video I'm going to show you how to put together my free layered unicorn SVG. Here she is, isn't she gorgeous? I'm not sure you can tell, but in the body layer there's loads of flowers and hearts adding some wonderful detail, and this is a great project for using up your scraps of card in the mane and the tail and the bow. So let's jump in. I'll show you how to download this from my website, how to get it all set up in Design Space, and finally how to stick it together. When you go to my website, following the link in the description, you'll come to this post which tells you all about the unicorn file. If you scroll down, you'll see there's a box which says download the free cutting file. From here you can log into your account, or if you don't have one, then click on the register for free button to register a free account. If you do have an account, you can log in by entering your email address and password and then pressing log in. After you've logged in, it will refresh the page and then you'll see the download, and this time instead of a login form it says download now. So you can just press that button and it will download the file straight to your computer. You'll need to unzip the folder it comes in before you can upload the file into Design Space. To find out how to do that on all the different types of device, check the description of this video because I've included information on how to unzip a folder on Windows, Mac, iPad, iPhones and Android devices. Load up Design Space and it's time to import your SVG. So click on Upload and then Upload Image. You can now either click Browse to find the unzipped version of the unicorn on your computer, or you can drag and drop it. Here's what the files look like when they're unzipped. The one you want to put in Design Space is the one called svg_unicorn_craftwithsarah.svg. So the little picture next to it might be different on your computer. Mine is because SVG files are set to open in Photoshop on my computer. Yours will probably be different to that, so don't worry about the little picture next to it. Just make sure you choose the one that starts with SVG. So I'm going to click and drag that into Design Space, and then it will show me a little preview here. So then I can press Upload, and then it will appear in my recent uploads. So I can just click on it, press Insert Images, and then it will appear on my project. Now, as of this recording, I'm using Design Space 6.7.201, and there is a little bug in it at the moment, which is when you upload an SVG, it comes in really, really big. So you can see at the moment this is 12 inches tall, which you could cut it that big, but that's going to be really quite big. So I'm going to make mine smaller and cut it at 7.5 inches tall. Because all the layers come in grouped, when you hit the resize, it will do all the layers in proportion. You can see in the layers panel all the different layers that this design is made from. So when you're happy with your size, just go ahead, click Make It on the top right. It will sort out all your mats for you. If you want to cut on a different size piece of paper, go into the material size drop down and change what you want it to cut with. So go ahead, get everything cut out, and then I'll show you how to stick the layers together to create your beautiful unicorn. Here is my unicorn all cut out. When I'm making layered designs, I like to roughly position everything on top of each other just to make sure I'm happy with all of the colours before I cut it out. And this also is a good way of making sure that you haven't missed any of the pieces. So let's separate these all out and then we can start sticking it together. Trying to keep these hooves in the right place, the right order, so that it's easier to remember which way to stick it. Okay, so I'm going to start with these two layers and I'm going to use 3D foam pads on the back of this one. So let's turn it over and add my foam. I'm using these foam pads by Dot and Dab. I get them on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description. They're quite big, so what I do is I just cut them in half with my scissors to make them smaller so that I don't need to use as many. So I'm just going to stick these on the back of this second layer of the unicorn. You want to make sure you add enough that you're going to have a nice strong stick between your layers, and make sure you've got some foam in all of the different parts of it, so in the legs and the tail and also in the middle of the body. And the reason we add ones in the middle is that it creates stability when we put the other layers on top of it. Make sure you don't add any foam over any of the gaps in the leg, otherwise you'll see them when you turn it over again. Now I can just peel the tops off of the foam pads to release the stickiness underneath. And now we can stick this onto our base layer. So line up those edges and just lightly place it into position so that if you need to move it you can, but when you're happy just push it down to get it all nice and stuck. Next I'm going to stick on the first and third hoof because those go onto this back layer. I'm using this glue, it's called Collall, and I've only recently discovered this. It is a transparent glue and it is brilliant for cardstock projects because it doesn't warp the card when you glue it on. So you know, some glues can kind of wrinkle the card when it's drying. This one doesn't do that, or at least it hasn't done it so far. It comes in quite a big bottle, so I bought these teeny tiny little bottles on Amazon and I've been putting the glue into these, and these have tiny little kind of needle point nibs on them, so you can be really accurate with the glue. And I think there were 12 in a pack, but of course they are reusable, so I'm very happy with this. I will put a link in the description, and yeah, so far this is definitely my new recommended glue. So I'm going to add these hoofs on. I'm going to add the glue directly onto the layer. There we go. It is a solvent glue, so make sure you are in a ventilated area. It's a little bit smelly, but not much. I hardly notice it. I'm just going to stick these hoofs on. There we go, and be careful to make sure you've got the correct hooves in the correct space, so they should line up nicely. Alright, so the next layer is the next body layer, which is this one that's all filled in. And once again, I'm going to turn this upside down and add some foam pads. Now I've done that and I've peeled off all the tops, I can bring the unicorn back in. And just like before, I'm going to stick this on top, lining it up with the layers that are already there. And push down to seal. Next is this layer, and you could either use foam or glue. I'm going to use glue just because it's quite thin in the body, so I think glue will be a lot easier. Here's my little glue bottle. I'm just going to add some around the shapes. And the nibs on this are so thin that it makes it nice and easy to get in all the small areas on the design. I can even go down the edges like this and get the glue on there. I'm going quite quickly for the video, so hopefully I won't get any on my table. I just want to put a little bit inside some of these flower shapes to make sure this will be really nice and stuck. Okay, now I can carefully pick this up and stick it back together. A nice thing about glue is that you do have that bit of wiggle room if you don't quite line it up. So I haven't quite got that right, but I can wiggle it into position before the glue dries. There. Okay, next I'm going to do the bottom hoofs and a little bit more glue on there, and then I can add my little gold bits of paper. One on there and one on the back. There. We're going to start with this piece, which is the biggest one, and turn it upside down and add some foam. We don't need as much this time because it's a much smaller piece. So then, oh, I've managed to dislodge one of my little feet. There we go. Okay, there we go, that one's done. And now we can add all of the decorations. So again, it's up to you if you use glue or foam for these. I'm going to use glue. I just don't want my unicorn getting too thick. My foam pads are quite thick, so I think glue will be best for me. If your foam pads are a bit thinner, then it could work out nicer with the foam. So this lines up with the bow shape, so you know where to put it. There we are. And then we have the other two pieces left. So I think it's easier to do the bottom bit first, which is going to go on like this. And so let's put a bit of glue on here. There we are. And then the last swirl is going to go in the space that's left. So a dab of glue, and then just put it into a rough position. If you're not sure where to put it, then refer back to Design Space and look at how the layers look, and then you'll know where to put it. Finally, for the tail, I've got the bow, and for this one I am going to use foam for the bottom layer of the bow. I think I'll have to cut my foam a little bit smaller to get it to fit. Here we go. Line this up. And then the other piece on top I will do with glue. Okay, now we can move on to the head. So here are our different layers, and the next one to go on is the mane. And for this one I will use foam. This one gets a little bit fiddly because it's quite small in some of the main areas, so just be careful that your foam doesn't overlap any edges, otherwise you'll be able to see it from the other side. Line this up. There we go. Alright, so the main head is made up of two layers. We've got a pink one, and the purpose of this is so that when you've got the white head on top, it shows the details through in the nose and the mouth and the eyebrow. So what I'm going to do first is stick this one on with foam, and then I'm going to glue the white one on so that we can see those details. So here's this one. Just want a bit of foam. I probably should have put some inside the ear, but never mind. So that just lines up with what's already there. Then put some glue on the white part on the back. And stick it on. We are nearly there, just the final decorations on the face to go. I'm going to put the little pink patch in the ear next with glue. That just sits on top there. And then the horn, again, I think glue for that one, but you could use foam. Oops, this glue can sometimes be a little bit stringy. A bit like a glue gun when it leaves the strings. Okay, there's that one there, and then I'm going to add the tuft of mane, and for this one I'll use foam. I want it to have a little bit of depth on it, just one bit should be fine. There, and finally the eye. I like to leave this till last because I find it's easiest to line up when you've got everything else in position. So I just want to make sure I get it the right way round. And then, I'm not sure if you can see because it's so small, I'm going to put a tiny bit of glue on the back. And, oh, my glue's gone stringy. And then drop it into position. Before I push it down, just rotate it with my fingernails, or you could use a pair of tweezers or something to make sure it's facing the right way. And gently push down. And there we go, our unicorn is now all finished and stuck together. So once again, if you'd like to get this free design, go to craftwithsarah.com or follow the link in the description to go straight to the download page. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut craft tutorials and of course loads more free layered SVGs. Thank you for watching. Bye.